All right, everybody, welcome back to another Pumped Up Podcast video. Today we're going to be ranking NFL teams draft, 2023 drafts. It is May 3rd, so we're about a week after the first round has occurred. So it's Wednesday, and we've had time to let things marinate for a little bit, and we're here to rank teams on how they did in this draft because we know a lot more than these NFL GMs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we are pumped up, and we know everything. We know it all. So we're gonna start.
If you disagree with us now, come back at the end of we'll say this season, next season, or the next, and you'll see all of our picks are 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Just see division.
We're gonna go division by division. So starting off with the Ravens. The Ravens got Zay Flowers. They got Trenton Simpson. Who else am I missing? I know I'm missing somebody.
You got the important. So the important thing is Lamar finally got some receiver help after his massive extension. Zay Flowers, great receiver out of Boston College. So that's the key. That's the key thing. I'd say that's a solid pickup, and
Sure.
Yeah, you got Trenton Simpson, like you said, out of Clemson. So overall solid draft. Hit the most needy part on receiver.
Sure. So what do you think their grade was in this draft?
So we're sitting at the you didn't get the Caleb Williams of this year.
Yeah.
But you got a good lineup. I'm feeling like a A+ or A-.
A minus. All right. Going with A-. I agree with that. You didn't necessarily obviously knock it out of the park with these players, but you got what you needed and you walked away happy. You also got Lamar on draft night, so I feel like did they get him on draft night? They re-signed him.
It was around then.
The day before.
I forgot what day. Yeah.
So I mean, basically, you got Lamar, you got Zay Flowers.
You're happy.
Simpson, so
Lamar's happy. You're happy.
So A-, pretty solid draft there. The next up,
Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals. Only person I can remember that they got off the top of my head was Myles Murphy out of Clemson. Very solid.
They got Myles Murphy and DJ Turner. So Myles Murphy was a guy that early on into this whole season he was sort of projected
him and
top 5, top 10.
Him and Brian Bresee, his teammate, they were projected like
they were both projected pretty high. Like Falcons were expected to get him for a while at that 8th spot.
DJ Turner, didn't he run like a crazy 40-yard dash at the combine?
Yeah, so those are two names that definitely stick out, and they got him. They got him late because, they're the Bengals. They're a good team. They got a late pick. So that's another. We're going B+ because other than those two names, those are the most that really stand out on their pick. But yeah, definitely a solid draft from the Bengals.
So going with the Cleveland Browns. So they picked up two main players, Cedric Tillman and then Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA. Obviously, a bunch of other players, but those are the two main ones.
I really like those two players.
I really like those. I agree.
The only issue is that Tennessee offense really runs a straight not NFL offense at all. They run 4 verts and different combinations of that on their entire offensive scheme has been said by many NFL scouts and executives that it's just not really an NFL ready scheme. But Cedric Tillman, one matchup I remember specifically was him against Keely Ringo, and the way he runs good routes. He's definitely he wasn't their wide receiver 1, with Hyatt, but he's up there on receivers. And then Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I remember posting a lot of his highlights on Elite CFB Now this past year, with his hurdles and crazy highlights. So, with the Browns being a team that who knows how Deshaun's going to do because, he never really showed out last year. It's definitely a guy that can learn, and I definitely like those two.
I'm thinking I feel comfortable putting them in the B tier.
Me too.
You know, they got two, good players. Didn't knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
Didn't have as good as a draft as the Bengals or the Ravens. So I like putting them in the B. And then next up is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who got Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Darnell Washington, just to name a few.
I don't know how they did it. I don't know how
Joey
they did
Porter
it.
Jr. fell to them in the second round.
That was insane.
I think this is a no-brainer A+ here.
You're building the picket fence, dude.
Exactly.
You're building the picket fence. You got an extra O lineman in Darnell Washington who only fell because of knee concerns. I read in a tweet that one doctor said he thinks he could have a 10-year or longer career and that he saw no true issues. So I really don't get how Darnell felt all that way. He was my really, I mean, I'm a little biased, I'm a Georgia fan, but I think he was my tight end 2 in this draft because his athletic ability, behind Michael Mayer, I don't know how he wasn't the first tight end off the board, but behind Michael Mayer, I had Darnell, and if he has a healthy career, he's going to be great. Joey Porter,
I do not know how he fell.
Everyone had him in the first round.
For a while, he was my cornerback 1.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, I think
he was a lot of people's.
He ended up before the draft. He ended up as my cornerback 2, with Christian Gonzalez being my number 1.
It was always him, Witherspoon, and Gonzalez. So
those were always the top 3 cornerbacks.
So and the fact that they got it out of the park.
Yeah. So
they got the chemistry. It's George Pickens, Broderick Jones, Darnell Washington, all on the same offense.
It's even better than Joey Porter Jr.'s dad played with the Steelers, and
that was awesome.
And he gets to go. Yeah. And next up, we got the Buffalo Bills.
Kind of a weird draft, or a weird first round pick, but after that it was a solid draft from the Bills.
You take Dalton Kincaid with your first overall pick when you have Dawson Knox. You don't really need.
You just extended Knox, I think, 4 years or something? They just extended Knox. Kincaid is like pretty similar player to Dawson
Didn't
Knox,
even take the best tight end off the board. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, they took him above Mayer. Like I said, I would have taken Mayer, Darnell Washington ahead of Kincaid.
They did make up for it by
Kincaid
taking.
was my tight end 3, but yeah, like you said, they made up for it by taking Osiris Torrent.
Well, honestly,
you got the Gainesville Bills.
He was
honestly
first round in a couple mocks, and he fell.
He fell pretty far.
Second or third round.
50s. He was a second round, but yeah, that was a good pick. Like we said, just that first round pick throws us off, but the rest of the draft was pretty solid. So I'm feeling B+ for the Bills.
I agree with that. Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins, who got Cam Smith, the running back out of Texas A&M. Not even gonna say his name.
We're not even gonna butcher his name.
I don't want to try to butcher it.
But he's a good running back. He's a good running back. I just don't want to say his last name wrong because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But
this is another draft that I feel like it's just a draft. They didn't do anything too insane. Cam Smith falling that far was kind of surprising, and they fell right into Dolphins' hands. But then again, it's not a crazy draft. They didn't, knock it out of the park like the Steelers. They didn't do, they didn't have as good a draft as the Ravens. Yep. So, I like a B+ grade for them.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too.
And then the next team, we got the New England Patriots, who Bill Belichick finessed the league again.
How does he keep getting away with it?
They had, I want to say, the 15th pick, traded back to 17, and still got the best cornerback in the draft, in my opinion, at least. I don't know how that happens, but some other players, you got Keon White.
You got Keon White, who was in some mocks. I think I saw him first round in some mocks. And then Kayshon Boutte, who really fell because of the combine. Like, he was
so
a really good wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he cooked my Georgia Bulldogs. I'll be honest, a little bit.
Fortunately, he did cook the Bulldogs a little bit.
He did cook the Bulldogs a little bit. but he really only fell because of combine. He's a good player. Patriots.
Really like putting
A
A
plus.
because not only did they get 3 really good players that we just mentioned, they got a little bit of everything.
They did.
They got a kicker and a punter for some reason. I don't know why they picked them.
Hey, we like.
Yeah,
You gotta have it.
Next up are the New York Jets.
Also, another really interesting draft there.
Will McDonald with their first pick.
I think what was their pick? Were they 14th?
Yeah, no, I think they had 15.
I think
the
they had
Patriots, and I think
15.
the Patriots had 16.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't even know,
But
Will McDonald.
that was weird, dude. That was really weird.
Y'all call me, say I have no knowledge, but I did not see Will McDonald in any first round in any mock drafts.
I don't think I did either.
Maybe I just didn't see. Maybe I just didn't know who he was. I still don't know who he is.
Iowa State, baby.
I didn't understand that pick, especially with JSN on the board. What's they got? They got Joe Tippmann. No idea who that is either.
That was just a weird draft.
I mean,
Weird draft from the Jets.
I think putting them in about the C tier sounds about
Yeah,
sounds about right for them.
I agree.
Just a weird draft overall. The next up, the Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos.
Let's ride.
Didn't have a single first round pick, but they made it work.
See,
They had one of the drafts. You know,
And
they did have a draft.
Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma, solid receiver. Drew Sanders and the white cornerback.
First one since I think like 2004, 2003.
Super rare Riley Moss. Wow. Honestly, like you said, they didn't have a first round pick, but they still had, they got the job done.
They still got the
needed.
job done. Yeah.
And so with that, that's just another draft.
That's
That's
another
just there.
B.
It's another B.
Yeah.
B grade.
It's not bad. It's nothing special.
Yeah.
But
So next up, the defending champions, the Kansas City Chiefs.
yes, sir. The man, the myth, the legend, James Draws.
Oh, yeah. Roll that clip right
Announcing
now.
a pick. Roll that clip.
Eagles, what happened? How you beat the Super Bowl champions, Chiefs?
And then, yeah, so I hated their draft. I'll be honest.
Wait, but they drafted a guy from Kansas
Whoa.
State.
I think that's like
Bro,
the
he grew
reason
up a Kansas City fan.
I think that's like one of the reasons I don't like their draft is because I feel like that pick was like a crowd pleaser. I feel like there were better players on the board. But
Yeah, that
who
was a
knows?
little surprising to me. I just feel like there are a lot of really good players that fell to the second round.
Yeah.
And beyond.
We got
I
Rashee
don't know.
Rice, who I know he's a solid receiver. I don't know much about him. But, I mean, this is just another team that's in the C tier.
Yeah.
I feel like, as the defending champions, you got to come into the draft, try to make a bang. They made a splash. A tiny little splash.
They got to drop.
You're going for cannonballs. You're in the cannonball contest. You're trying to
And
go
you got
you're trying to go for a
Hezbollah in
boom.
there.
You're trying to go for a boom. They just get a splosh.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't get much.
For sure.
Next up, we got Las Vegas Raiders, who
This was a good draft.
a very solid draft. Very solid draft.
Tyree
You got
Wilson.
Tyree Wilson, who honestly,
I
dude,
think they got him at 7.
He started rising like late in mock drafts.
He did.
And he's a monster.
Jalen Carter on the board. You pass on him, but you need edge. You take
Yeah.
Tyree Wilson. You get Michael Mayer,
Who
my
was a
tight end
steal.
one,
That was a
in the
steal of a
second
pick.
round.
And
Such
then
a steal.
you got Byron
um,
Young. Is that the Byron Young?
Because
from
you're
Alabama?
replacing. You know who you're replacing? Current Giant
My New York Giant, Darren Waller. Let's
Darren
go.
Waller. You got Byron Young out of Alabama. I really like this draft. I'm going A.
A minus. I like that. I like it a lot.
Yep.
Next up, the
Then
Los
we got the Chargers. Just a weird. I don't know, man.
Dinky in here.
What?
not
So
really,
I think we talked about it before. They had 21, right?
Yeah, they took Quentin Johnson with their first round pick. which
Quentin Johnson at 21.
I don't, because here's why.
Not.
You already have Mike Williams, and Quentin Johnson is, in my opinion, a legit clone of Mike Williams.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're better off
you
taking a
go
player Like, you're better off taking a player like Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison, who,
I
in my
agree.
opinion, are better than Quentin Johnson too.
Yeah.
So that's why I also like the Quentin Johnson pick. They also
Then we got Thule. We're not even gonna say the rest of that because we don't
Guy
want to
from
butcher that
USC.
also. But so yeah, just
It's also
overall,
another draft. It's a, I mean, then again,
It's
Quentin
another
Johnson's-
draft, but it's like a slightly lower than just a draft. You know, it's B minus.
minus
It's
something.
not.
Yeah.
When you got guys like Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers up there, I don't know how you pass on them for Quentin Johnson.
Again, Quentin Johnson's not bad.
the top 3 or 4 receiver, but
And you know, he's got the size, he's got the length, but I mean, other than that, you know, he's not as
Yeah.
athletic as Addison. He's not as athletic or speedy as Zay Flowers,
yeah.
but you still got a good receiver. But next up, we got the Houston Texans.
Honestly, might be the one.
Alright, so-
I'm not gonna say the best. I'm not gonna say the best draft because
They traded away their
we got another team up there, but so they're sacrificing next year, but they're building on this year. They got
their
CJ
franchise-
Stroud, as everyone knows. You know, I really did think that his 18 on the comprehensive test was gonna make him
Dude.
fall, just because the media just tricked my brain into like falling for
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
I didn't think he deserved to. I thought he was the second. I thought he was the second best quarterback. We all knew
Always
Bryce
was.
Young was going number 1. I thought CJ was number 2. But the media just really tricked my brain into thinking that he wouldn't fall. That he was gonna fall. But then you get arguably the best or second best defensive player on the board in Will Anderson in back-to-back picks. I really like that.
And you get, you know, other guys like Tank Dell.
Tank
Xavier Hutchinson.
Dell is another one of the guys who is one of the top-rated receivers this draft, and just didn't have. He had just an average combine, you know. And he's also the son of Georgia running back coach. Just saying, but we can edit that out. I just had to mention it. But Tank Dell, did you see CJ Stroud actually requested that they draft him?
Oh, I did. I saw that.
So, I mean, I love the
think-
Texans draft.
I think we can put them in A+. I think
I agree.
I think you get a franchise guy on offense and defense in the same
Yeah,
draft.
exactly.
But I also like putting them in A because, you know, you did trade away your pick for next year, which
Okay.
could possibly be top 10 in a draft with Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers, etc.
Yeah.
So, you know, and because the Texans are so young, you know, they might not win many games. Cardinals might get 2 even more generational prospects.
That's true.
But nonetheless,
That's true.
you still got 2 franchise guys on both sides of the field. So it's
Yeah,
an
I like it.
it's an A+ draft. Next up, you got one of my favorite drafts, the Colts. Dude,
We were doubters. We were
we're
doubters.
We watched the film and our
We watched
our
the
eye-
film. Watch that last video if you haven't already, where we react
Was-
to Anthony Richardson film.
that was crazy.
It
My
was-
eyes were opened to
They were open, dude.
the greatness, not the greatness, but the potential.
The
of
most
Anthony Richardson.
most athletically gifted quarterback ever. Right? Can we say that?
I can't
Or
even
not athletic. What's the?
think of. There's some.
He's the most intangible reaching
Tangible,
quarterback ever.
We'll say that. There you go.
But he has pocket issues and accuracy issues, decision making issues.
Colts
But
have
that's
a
stuff
good-
you can teach. He's got all the stuff you can't teach. So they take Anthony Richardson and then they go back and get another one of the
Josh
top
Downs.
receivers and Josh Downs.
Oh. I'm pretty sure their coach is a good quarterback coach as well. So AR will thrive over in Indianapolis, and I like putting them in A. I
I did too.
Now,
Because they're not A+ just because
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony
he's
Richardson
boom or
is a
bust.
project quarterback. But if he's the boom,
Dude,
he's an A+, and if he's the bust, you still get Josh Downs, you know. So and the rest of your draft. So it's a good
next up,
draft, no matter
we
what.
got Jacksonville Jacksonville Jaguars.
Another one of those just drafts, you know,
Get Anton Harrison, Britton Strange.
which is, I still just I don't love Brenton Strange as a pick just because,
Then
like I
Tank,
said, I think Darnell they took, I forgot what pick they took Strange,
I
but
think they
he
took
was one
him
of the
before.
early tight ends. He
Mhm.
was one of the early tight ends off the board, and I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like
I agree. And then you got Tank
they're better
Bixby.
options.
Tank Bixby.
I do really like the Tank
I do.
Bigsby pick.
mean,
I
a
believe
solid
in the Tank
backup.
Bigsby hype. He was the entire Auburn, offense last year. And
I like putting him in the
yeah,
B.
solid backup. Definitely,
I'm going to put
I like that a lot.
solid B tier. Next up, we got
Next
the
up,
Tennessee
we got
Tennessee
the
Titans.
most important tier of the entire draft.
Team that
We all
drafted
know where
Willis.
this is going. If you've watched a single video of ours, you know we're generational Will Levis haters, and
Don't hate.
even us, we felt bad for
Dude,
the guy.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I really felt bad for him.
The media's on him the whole night. They're just shoving cameras in his face. They're
Just
getting
sitting there,
videos
bro.
of him complaining to his mom, him complaining to his girlfriend.
Hey, but when you
His
have that many girls
girlfriend
around you,
talk-
I mean, can't be that mad.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, yeah.
Come on now.
He was talking to his girlfriend, or people were making fun of him saying his girlfriend's getting drafted before him. It's crazy. The
It's
media is a crazy
That's
place.
crazy. They
and,
said
and
that.
yeah, and I really felt bad for the guy. I'm not gonna lie. And do I still think he's not gonna produce in the NFL? Of course, but
I like the Titans with Will Levis. I like the fit.
it's just
I
they
don't think
got
they'll be
Malik
great.
Willis and Will Levis. That's like the
Oh, yeah.
battle of just not great.
They also got Peter Skoronsky, who
Arguably.
arguably-
That's a pick.
he's got that aura, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. But that's a solid pick. I mean,
I did like that. So
It's-
this is the Will Levis tier, but also I'm feeling like
B.
a B on their draft. They had a solid draft. I just
yeah.
with the hater in me can't
So
allow
crazy.
a Will Levis team.
After the draft, or like after like the first day of the draft, I go on TikTok, and all my videos are Will Levis's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And not like even videos of like her in the draft. Like it's her account, her interviewing people. You know, like people like do like those interviews for TikTok. And they're like asking questions. She's doing those, and I'm like, what in the world?
It's just TikTok knows.
They knew.
TikTok just
They put it on my
knows,
first page.
dude.
Next up, we got the Chicago Bears.
Another great
Mm.
draft.
A solid draft.
Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. Got Gervon Dexter, who a lot of people had higher than he fell, out of Florida. Tyreek Stevenson, Miami corner. That was a really solid draft. You picked up two nice defensive players. You know, we're really just talking about the early picks, but really
you say about it?
all around a good draft. You're
Solid draft.
providing support for Justin Fields, and
I don't have much to say about it. You know, you got what you needed. You know, and you got, pretty much the best players at the positions that you needed when you were making that pick, if that makes any sense.
yeah,
But,
exactly. So
Yeah.
so that's an A. It's not just a draft, but it's
And-
not an incredible draft.
Next up, we're just going to go ahead, put the lines right there, and what were you even thinking? What a disaster.
Jahmyr
draft.
Gibbs, a guy that was, people had him going second round.
Let's just get this out the way. Jahmyr Gibbs, great running back. He was
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
running
no
back
doubt.
too.
Two,
He was pretty much
yeah.
everyone's running back too.
I think everyone agrees with that.
But not in the first round.
Running back is the least important position on.
Obviously, the only other
football
person, the
field.
only running back that should have gone first round and did was Bijan.
But and then you go back and you get Jack Campbell, and then you go back and you get Sam Laporta when
God,
Mayer was still on the board when they got Sam.
dead serious.
Laporta.
I think the Lions took Jack Campbell just because of his last name. I'm dead serious. I think
Yeah.
that's why they took him.
Probably.
I just want to make.
maybe. Yeah,
It's just such an awful draft, dude. It makes me so mad.
it is. It was bad. It was bad. So yeah, they're
I'm getting on it.
worst draft I've ever
Let's go to the Packers.
seen.
We got past the Lions. Thank goodness. I can't stand talking about that draft.
Okay. Yeah, Lions tragic.
The Packers.
Lucas Van Ness. in
Lucas
the
Van Ness.
Packers was
I
just,
hate Lucas Van Ness as a
I
prospect.
really don't like that. He looks like Disney Channel Jake Paul, and it really annoys me.
Overall-
and the fact that he like didn't start games at Iowa. I just. And
Yeah, I
then
didn't
Luke
like-
Musgrave, he's a tight end.
I didn't
he's
like
a
their
tight end.
draft.
I
didn't like their
I
draft
didn't.
at
You,
all. I want to put them in C. I'm put them first in the
I-
C tier.
I
I'll put
agree.
them first in the C tier because
it's not like a tragic C, but it's a pretty bad C.
because like it wasn't a terrible draft. They got players that they needed for that position. I guess I'm not a Packers
Yeah.
fan, but I'm assuming they got what they needed. But there were so many better players on the board.
Yeah.
But we move. Except we got the Minnesota Vikings.
Dude,
Taking-
Justin Jefferson
And
and Jordan Addison is going to be a nasty duo.
That's
to
a pretty
guard.
nice duo, dude. And then
It
also-
hurts. It hurts to say that. That's going to be a really nice duo because I
also
think
got
Jordan
TJ
Addison might have been both of our wide receiver ones, right? So
So got TJ Hawkinson.
that
Oh,
offense is going to be nice. You
You got a
got
solid 3.
Jaron Hall at quarterback in case he turns into something, maybe. If not, Captain Kirk, he
They
can lead the
also-
way.
They also took Mekhi Blackman. What was he from? USC? He was out of USC. Cornerback out of
Dude,
USC.
it's really surprised me to look and see how many USC defenders got drafted.
Yeah,
Because
they suck.
we watched some USC football and
They were awful.
They gave up some points, so I don't know. I guess they're just
I feel
that really
comfortable.
surprised me.
I like putting them in the B+ tier
Yeah, I agree. I like that.
just because
And
Jordan Addison is just
Jordan Addison
that's a great
is nasty, and that's gonna be
great
so
pick.
nice, bro.
The next up, we're going to the NFC East. We'll start off with the Dallas Cowboys. What were they thinking?
This is another draft.
Lee Smith.
It's another draft.
Smith on the board.
Luke Schoonmaker, and then a later pick, but the most emotional pick of the draft was
think-
Deuce Vaughn. I'm sure everyone's seen
gonna-
that clip by now.
I'll give the Cowboys some points to bump them up to B for taking Deuce Vaughn because that's a pretty cool pick there.
And that was such a cool pick, and I don't care if he's 5'5", bro. He's so good. He's
actually
really good.
I like him a lot.
Because I remember I watched him
So,
play against Alabama in the
Before
was that the
Alabama.
Sugar Bowl.
yeah, before Alabama started, just scoring every drive.
Before they started scoring every drive, yeah, Deuce Vaughn was killing it.
He
He
was
had a
killing it.
really good game. So I mean, I really like that pick. I like Deuce Vaughn. So and I feel like the Cowboys are a type of team that does well with those type of players. Like they took I don't remember his name, but the kick returner that was the USFL MVP
Oh, yeah,
or whatever, and he
was pretty solid.
he did really well too, and he's really undersized. So it's a good team for him to go to.
Next up, we got the New York Football Giants. My
Yes,
team
sir.
right here. You get Deontay Banks with your first round pick.
We
Who
like that. We
was
like
my
that.
cornerback 3, cornerback 4. Next round, you get John Michael Schmitz, who was projected to go first round to the Giants. And then you get Jalen
Yep.
Hyatt, who is also projected to go first round to the Giants. You get him in the 3rd or 4th round. So you're getting they got insane value with their picks, and they pretty much got every position that they sucked at. So
Yeah, definitely a really good draft for the Giants. I'd say this is an A.
should do that. I'm not gonna let my bias persuade that. I'm gonna put them at the top of the A though, because we'll let the bias
Just the
play
top of
there.
A. I don't think it's
They
A
didn't,
plus
not A plus
necessarily, but I
they-
definitely think it's A.
They got they got what they needed. Great draft. I'm happy with it. And next up, just go ahead, put the
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think they had the best
Yeah.
draft of the draft.
I'll just go ahead and put
Philadelphia
them.
Eagles.
Go ahead, put them up there at A plus at the top.
Top of the A plus. Top of the A plus. You're
Yeah.
telling me you get the best, like I said, best or second best defensive player, it's arguably you take Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter has off-field issues. He falls to 9. They trade up to 9. Then they somehow
Good job.
get
Bulls.
Nolan Smith in the, what was it, 30th pick, I think?
Yeah,
They
good
take
job.
Nolan Smith, who's also projected top 15 in so many mock drafts. Then you get
Get Keely Ringo.
Tyler Steen, right?
Yeah.
You get Tyler Steen out of Bama. You get an extra O lineman to add to the greatest offensive line in the NFL. You add Keely Ringo and then Tanner McKee. I mean, I really think the Eagles.
And you also
A-plus,
sign
best draft.
Eli Ricks as an undrafted free agent.
Who was another guy that was just
I just
one of the most
that
top
makes me so
talented
mad.
players. Yeah,
That just makes me so mad, and I hate it so much.
but I think you lock it in right now. I think the Eagles.
Oh,
I
Eagles.
think the Eagles win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years. Steaming take,
It's a hot take right there. Next up, we got
but
the Washington Commanders.
taking Emmanuel
Emmanuel-
Forbes just felt like a little bit of a reach to me. I mean, I know he's a good cornerback, but he's just small, you know.
I didn't like that pick, especially with Christian Gonzalez on the board.
Exactly.
I didn't like
mean,
that pick at all.
I don't either. I just
Also,
thought
you take Jartavius Martin. No idea who that is. If you're watching Jartavius, I'm sorry, brother. I'll watch your tape. Don't worry. Next, they got Chris Rodriguez Jr. out of Kentucky. I know who that is. He's actually not
Yeah.
bad. Not bad. I like him. I've watched a couple Kentucky games. He was pretty good.
he was for sure.
We have B plus, but thinking about the Emmanuel Forbes pick, I'm gonna bump
I
him
think
down.
we.
I'm gonna bump
I
him
think
down
we
to
go
B.
B.
I'm gonna
I
bump
think
him
we
down
go
to
B.
B.
I'm
Next
with
up, we're heading to the NFC West. We got the Arizona Cardinals, who, in my opinion, had probably second or third best draft. In my opinion, I'm gonna put them up at A plus. I think what made their draft so good was getting that Texans pick. They got so much value moving down from, like, what was it, 3 to 12 or 3 to 11. You snag the best, arguably the best offensive lineman in the draft with Paris Johnson. You
Yep.
get BJ Ojulari, and then Garrett Williams, cornerback out of Syracuse. They filled a lot of holes that they had.
They filled holes and they
Pause.
get a probably pause. They filled what they needed, and they got a probably
Yeah.
top 10 pick next year.
And I just read earlier before we started recording, DeAndre Hopkins it's expected to stay in Arizona, which
Really,
is
I did
possibly
not know
huge.
that.
So yeah, I like that draft a lot. And next up we got Los Angeles Rams, who took the GOAT, Stetson Goat Bennett.
Stetson Go Bennett,
As
who
we have written down
I
on our
still
notes.
don't get. I don't get the Stetson slander, man. I don't know.
Rams got a solid. Rams actually had a lot of picks. They were later round
Got the
picks.
other Byron Young out of Tennessee.
No.
I don't know about the Steve Avila pick. I don't.
Yeah, so
I mean, TCU they made the national championship. We'll say that much. But
putting them in B plus.
yeah, they're B plus.
Because they had a ton of picks. They were later round picks, but you got what you needed. They had a lot of holes, and they got players that are gonna be able to play day one probably. So obviously Stetson Goat Bennett got picked by them. So
You gotta
Yeah,
give them some
you gotta
credit
give them
for
credit there.
they know ball. They know
Know
ball.
next up we got this San Francisco 49ers. They took Jake Moody.
They did.
They took Jake
They
Moody. That's
did.
all I know. They got
They did.
Jai. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that name.
They got the Penn State safety. They got Ronnie Bell, great receiver out of Michigan.
I like a little B
Really?
minus.
Not like, yeah. Once again, not the greatest players in every category, but definitely
It's
another draft.
It's an ant draft. Next
Yeah.
up, the Seattle Seahawks.
This is a draft that I have at A, but I would have it A plus if they had switched one of the running backs with a different pick. And I think you could have gotten away with taking Kenny McIntosh, and taking someone else at that earlier spot, because Kenny McIntosh fell to 6th round when he had 3rd and 4th round grades from some people. But I mean, you get Devon Witherspoon.
I did not like that pick because at the time Jalen Carter was on the board.
I know,
And
dude.
I
I mean, passing on Jalen Carter was still
I
a
feel
hot
like
take,
for a
but
lot of these teams, they've gotten bumped down a spot because they didn't take Jalen
I
Carter.
agree.
Like if
You
the
take
Seahawks,
Jalen Carter and get everything else the
Dude,
same, and you're
if the
golden.
Seahawks took Jalen Carter, they're A plus. You know,
yeah.
which Jalen Carter leads us to our next team, the Atlanta Falcons. Your Atlanta Falcons.
I don't even want to
No,
talk about
I'm
it.
not even gonna lie. Realistically, we have them in B. We're gonna put them in the B tier. They missed. You guys missed on so many.
Hey, man, it could have been A, but we pass on.
I really like Bijan. I think he is the best running back prospect since Saquon.
I just don't
And-
think that. And if he's not,
If he's not offensive rookie of the year,
if he's
He's
not
a-
Saquon, he
it
should
was a
have
waste.
been
Yeah,
a top 10 pick.
I think you can justify the pick, but not when Jalen Carter was.
Yeah, I've just been trying to gaslight myself as much as possible
not-
into liking
really
the pick,
think
because
about it,
I don't hate it, but I just don't think,
It's
like I
not
said
an awful
earlier,
pick.
running back is just and it's just a hard pill to swallow, because you draft Algier last year. You already have an older Cordell Patterson. You'll probably switch him to receiver, I guess. But I mean, you had the 3rd best rushing offense in the league last year, and then you take a running back at 8 when the best defensive player is on the board.
And
I
you
just-
also whenever you were last in sacks
it-
as a team.
yeah, that's
But
That's
once
the
again,
Falcons.
Like I said,
but like
like I said, it's not a
Other than
Bijan's
that-
Bijan's not terrible.
yeah, and then that Clark Phillips pick out of
a good
Utah, I
pick.
really like that. That's
I
a
actually-
good pick. We got him
had-
late. That's something I like to see. I think it's another draft, and if Bijan is the greatest running back ever, then we go up to A. But I think it's at B right now,
They
just
gave him Vic's
for the
number.
positional value. It's just weird.
So, Carolina Panthers.
First
Number one
overall
overall
pick.
pick.
We knew Bryce Young was there.
It's an
knew.
automatic. It's an automatic A, in my opinion. You get Bryce Young, best.
You get your
quarterback in the draft.
franchise guy. He's
You get another,
know-
Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, pretty solid. And you get Jamie
definitely
Robinson
another solid pick.
out of Florida State. Great pick right there. But I mean, they got Bryce Young, so I mean, I feel like that's an automatic A.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, they got Bryce Young, put him in B.
Bryce Young's a magician. If you've watched Bryce Young play football, you know he's a magician. So
Exactly.
it's definitely. I mean, you got your franchise guy. They've built a really solid team this offseason too. So I like I like
Next
the
up,
Panthers. I don't know.
We got the New Orleans Saints. I don't know what they did, but we got it right here.
They got another
Ryan.
guy who we were saying, had really early grades there for a bit.
You say.
Yeah.
Out
and
of
Brian.
Clemson.
Kendre Miller, that was a good pick in my opinion as well. Running back out of TCU.
You get a solid receiver, A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest. Not a bad draft. I like putting them in the B.
Yep.
It's a draft. Not great, not terrible. And then the
Yeah.
last team.
Once again, not getting the greatest players at any of the positions, but you got good players.
You got good value for where you were with your pick.
Yeah.
And the last team, the Kyle Trask led Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is so crazy to say.
I'm so happy to hear that, honestly.
They got a first round pick that took Kalijah Cansey.
Hey, they got Gap Tooth. They got the new gap tooth and Cody.
Dude,
Out of,
that was a great pick.
where is he? North?
I think it
Was
was
he
like
North Dakota State?
North Dakota State or South. I think it was
I
South
think-
Dakota State.
He was one of the. It was the
One of the Dakotas.
one of the Dakotas.
Then you also get a solid receiver, Trey Palmer, out of Nebraska, I believe.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a solid receiver. You get a solid defensive end, I believe. Kalijah
We
was.
definitely we had a high grade on Kalijah for sure. I
Not
saw
a-
a bunch of grades of him going up there. So I mean that Pitt defensive line has been a good unit for a minute.
Once
So,
again, this is a draft where
this is a draft.
It's
I
not
mean,
great.
I just feel like you
But-
didn't fill your most. I guess that they're banking on next year because the quarterbacks next year are just on another
Yeah.
level. So,
So you know,
I really think they're going to be really bad this year, but it's a good building block.
yeah. So that's
And
why
so
we put him in the B tier. Good building block.
we'll go B tier.
Decent draft.
Yep.
So basically, if you disagree with our picks, you're wrong.
Pretty much. Come
This is
back to
all
this
right.
video, bookmark this video, share the video. If you disagree with our picks, we'll prove you wrong. And if you agree with our picks, then great. Also, we got NBA stuff going on. We got a lot of a college football series we're gonna start. A lot of good stuff coming. So make sure you like, subscribe, and if you turn on those notifications, that would be awesome too. We appreciate you watching, and have a great rest of your day.